This is copper. This is a kitchen scale. And this is one of the deepest numbers in all of science. You'd think you need a lab to measure it, but I'm doing it right here, on my table. Welcome to the first episode of DIY Physics. We're going to electrolyze a solution of copper sulfate using copper electrodes. And mind you be, this was actually one of the first experiments that allowed us to determine the Avogadro's constant. Yes, Avogadro did not determine his constant his own self. He only proposed the idea. It was only a century later that we were able to determine his constant, and it was done using this experiment. You're going to see in a bit that this experiment is fairly simple, but let's go over the materials first. You will need a solution of copper sulfate, and I will show you how to make this. 2 copper wires or sheets. Try to get hard solid copper wire. This is going to dissolve in the solution and we don't want it to be too thin that it just breaks off. A mass balance having a precision of at least 0.01 grams. A power supply. You can use batteries for this step too, but honestly a power supply is way better. If you do get batteries, then just make sure they provide you a fairly good amount of current for an hour or so before they run out. A multimeter, which you will use to measure the amount of current flowing in the circuit. A rheostat or a variable resistor. Some ethanol. Once again, not completely necessary, but better if you have it. And lastly, a stopwatch. Let's first talk about making the electrolyte. You would think it's pretty simple to make any salt. Just put the metal in acid because metal plus acid equals to salt plus hydrogen gas. But it does not work that way for all metals. Sure, it works great for magnesium or other reactive metals, but for unreactive metals like copper, it just sits there in sulfuric acid. Like, bro, do something. The explanation for this fact comes through the reactivity series and electrochemistry, which I shall explain in a future video. There is a neat way around this problem though, and we shall use electrolysis to solve this. Just get 2 copper electrodes, put them in a solution of sulfuric acid and flow current through the circuit. This is actually quite similar to the setup we will be using to measure the Avogadro's constant, so let me explain the chemistry here. Copper electrodes are not like graphite. They are not inert. So the copper from the anode will oxidize and dissolve in solution as copper 2+ ions due to the other competing species, that is the sulfate ions, being very hard to oxidize. They will travel to the cathode, gain electrons, and get deposited as copper solid there. Initially, however, we expect hydrogen gas to be liberated at the cathode because there will be no copper 2+ ions in the solution. As the copper 2+ concentration builds up, and because copper is less reactive than hydrogen, we eventually will see copper getting deposited at the cathode. If you look closely, you start seeing the solution going blue and becoming a deeper and deeper blue as we run the electrolysis longer, because the copper 2+ concentration builds up in the solution and reacts with the sulfate ions producing copper sulfate that gives us this beautiful blue color. I used a concentration of 1 mole per dm cube sulfuric acid and ran the electrolysis till I got a decent blue color. Believe it or not, this solution is good as is. Just filter it and maybe dilute it and it's ready to be used for electrolysis. But I decided on crystallizing an earlier batch, and just look at how cute the crystals are. Makes you want to eat them. Anyways, now that the electrolyte is ready, let's set up our circuit for the actual experiment. First of all, we need to record the mass of the electrodes. Take new pieces of copper wires for both electrodes and record the mass for the anode. I won't be using the change in mass for the cathode because some of the copper 2+ ions might just react with the remaining sulfate ions in solution. Also, the copper comes off the cathode pretty easily, so we won't be able to measure its mass reliably anyway. Connect the negative of your supply to the cathode and put it in the solution. Connect the positive of your supply to the anode through the rheostat and multimeter in series and also dip it in the solution. Make sure both electrodes are well submerged in the solution. Turn on your supply, start the timer, and quickly set the current to the value you want. I used a current of approximately 0.4 amperes and ran the experiment for about an hour. I recommend using a small amount of current and running the experiment for a longer period of time. The small current prevents solution from heating up too much, keeping the resistance of the solution and current fairly constant. A longer period of time just makes sure a measurable change in mass takes place at the anode. If the current changes, just adjust the rheostat to make the current the same again. After about an hour, I switched off my power supply and took the anode out of the solution. First, rinse the anode with water and then with ethanol and leave it to dry. After it is dry, record its mass, and that's pretty much it. Now we can move on to the calculations. The calculations are also pretty simple. We know the reaction taking place at the anode is this, which means that each mole of copper loses 2 moles of electrons to convert to copper 2 plus ions. We can find out the moles of copper that took part in the reaction pretty easily by dividing the change in mass of the anode by the MR of copper, which is 63.5. Once we have the moles of copper, we can multiply it by 2 to find out the moles of electrons. The amount of charge carried by these moles of electrons can be given by the formula Q equals to NF, where N is the moles of electrons and F is the Faraday's constant, which basically is the charge carried by 1 mole of electrons. Dividing the charge by the moles, we can work out F. We have the moles of electrons, but what about the charge? That's right, we measured the current and time for this same exact reason. By substituting current into time in place of charge, we can work out F. And finally, plugging in all of the values gives us this value, which is actually pretty close to the accepted value of the Faraday's constant. But wait, we wanted to find the Avogadro's constant. How do we do that? Well, we know the Faraday's constant is the charge carried by 1 mole of electrons. So basically, if I multiply the number of electrons in a mole, which is the Avogadro's constant, here denoted by L, by the charge carried by 1 electron, which is 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 coulombs, here denoted by E, this will equal to F. Simply rearranging the formula and dividing our value from before by E, we can work out the Avogadro's constant, which is once again awfully close to the generally accepted value for it. It's crazy how accurately we were able to determine the value for the Avogadro's constant through such a simple setup. Now, I know we cheated a bit. We didn't find the value of E on our own, but that is a topic for another video. What's a scientific experiment without discussing the errors, limitations, and improvements? Primarily, according to me, I think there were 2 main sources of error. Number 1, the precision of our mass balance is limiting. The uncertainty in one reading is 0.01 grams, and since we measured 2 values to calculate the change in mass, our percentage uncertainty works out to be a whopping 4.2%. But honestly, for a home experiment, I think we're still doing pretty great. Number 2, at the start of the experiment, the current fluctuates quite a bit, and it's very hard to set the current to the value we want immediately. However, by running the experiment for a longer period of time, we can get rid of this issue pretty well. Well, that brings us to the end of this video. If you want this kind of stuff to continue on the Prosperity channel, then make sure you like and subscribe and let me know down in the comments below how your results turned out to be when you replicate this experiment. I have some really banger ideas planned up for the videos ahead that I would like to share with you guys. Anyways, that's it for this video and I will see you all later. Allah Hafiz.